Hey everyone, I'm Doug with B&H. Today we're looking at two new products from Teradek. First up is the Teradek Wave, a brand new product combining the streaming technology of Teradek with the monitor display technology of Small HD. The build quality, not to mention variety of connections and power options, make it incredibly capable in event spaces, B2B conferences, houses of worship, and more. Then we'll take a quick look at the Spark 4K, which is Teradek's new wireless HDMI transmitter that can stream 4K video in a compact package, which is great for smaller scale productions, but is especially useful in the AV space where signal routing with a wire might not be an option. The Teradek Wave is a really interesting tool. Front and center is a 7-inch touchscreen IPS LCD that can reach 1000 nits, meaning you can absolutely use this in bright outdoor conditions. It's an all-in-one approach to streaming though, letting you stream and record internally to SD cards while also monitoring the encoded output. The Wave streams H.264 video up to 1080p at 60 FPS, which as far as streaming applications are concerned is plenty. It's far more capable as a streaming device, however, when it comes to actual connection versatility. The Wave can stream over Wi-Fi 6, gigabit Ethernet, and even USB cellular modems, all of which can be bonded through a ShareLink account if you choose. The OS, which we'll look at soon enough, takes care of all encoder and streaming information with video input through HDMI. The device is powered via dual Sony L-style batteries, which are hot swappable, so it won't interrupt your stream. As far as integration is concerned, you can technically mount the Wave on a few of its quarter 20 threads around the body, but I personally love the included stand that makes it perfect as a tabletop display. So here it is, the Teradek Wave. The Wave has a pretty slick UI based on a whole new operating system called Flow OS, and from the front page it guides you to setting up streaming events. We're going to start by configuring the streaming destination. So the Wave has a few presets for popular streaming platforms. I already have it here set for Facebook, but you also have YouTube, Vimeo, and other options as well. In my case, it's easiest to stream to Facebook Live, so I've already logged into my account and we're going to stream to a private event. A more customized setup can be done if you use custom channels. Let's just go over here to change destination. You can see I have my account, but there's channels and also quick RTMP entry points, which allow the Wave to use pretty much any RTMP-based platform. By the way, you can also create and save these destinations in the main system settings under streaming destinations. So back to my event setup, I'm actually going to also set up an SDXC card. I've already popped it inside so we can record the stream internally. Let's just go down to recording settings. You can see here recording, we'll enable it. And right here we have a few things. We have recording name, the auto record mode that begins as soon as you stream, and the file format, which offers the MKV, transport stream, and MP4 containers. So now going down to video settings, we have video quality. There doesn't seem to be separate quality options for the internal recording, so it likely is the same for both the stream and the recording. So over here we have bitrate selections, resolution, and under bitrate selections, by the way, you could either do a list, so you get a list of preset bit rates. We're going to choose 15 in this case, but you also have custom, which allows you to use a slider to do it more incrementally. So in this case, we'll stick to 15 as a preset. You have adaptive bit rate, frame rate selection, and the keyframe interval, which is listed in seconds. Now you'll notice under custom frame rates that there's actually no 24 option, so just be mindful of that. So moving down under audio settings, you can either use the embedded HDMI audio or a separate analog audio input through the 3.5mm jack on the bottom of the unit. The audio is encoded in AAC, and like the video before it, you have either preset bit rates or a bitrate slider. All the changes are automatically saved, so you can simply leave the configuration page and then enter the event itself. So once we click this, it brings us right to the event. Your image preview, as you can see, will immediately show up, and you can still change any settings necessary by clicking the little icon here on the bottom, which will bring up your event configuration. Now, as far as input is concerned, you must send a maximum of 1080p 60 to the Wave, as it's unable to downscale a 4K signal internally. So with the event ready to go, I simply hit the stream button at the top right here, and it should connect to Facebook in just a few seconds. So in fact, I'm going to check my feed right now. And so here we go. You can see there's some latency, but otherwise, it's working. And it looks great. So to stop it, all you have to do is hit there, confirm, and that's it. That kills the stream. So this particular stream is set up for 60 FPS even though the input stream is 24. And while it streams and records in 60 FPS, we kept it at 24 to match the footage you're seeing here. Now the image preview on the Wave seems to be running at half that rate when you do run at 60 FPS, so that's just a minor quirk to keep in mind. Now, as far as video quality is concerned, obviously that is largely dependent on your available bandwidth. In our case, at least, we're using the Teradek node as a modem here, but your options are actually quite robust with support for Wi-Fi 6 and gigabit Ethernet. It also has two USB-A connections that can connect to dual USB cellular modems, just like the one we have here, and this allows you to use wireless internet almost anywhere that you can get cell service. But even more than that, the Wave supports network bonding using a ShareLink account, even between Wi-Fi, Ethernet, and USB modems. Now you can manage the ShareLink bonding via the Waves app on Android or iPhone. So what you have to do is make sure your wireless setting is set to access point, and that is so that your smartphone can connect to the Wi-Fi of the device itself. So we already have that set up, yep. Let's go into the Wave app, and it should show up right here. It's going to connect, and we'll be able to actually see a preview feed from the Wave on your phone. You can also see your current bit rate, resolution, audio rate, and if you link phone, that'll take you to network bonding. As you've seen by now, the Wave is gorgeous, especially once you turn on that 1000 nit screen. At 7 inches diagonally, it's fully touch capable, and combined with the included tabletop stand, it just shouts professional. Looking around the device, both the left and right sides are mostly clear. There's just the power button on the left and a 1/4 thread on each side intended for use with the stand. On the top are 2 spots for detachable antennas along with the USB Type-A for the previously mentioned modem, and the SDXC card slot. Opposite that, on the bottom, is where you'll find most of the connections. There's a USB-C connection, a gigabit Ethernet connection, a second USB-A port, again for the modem, full-size HDMI port, and both 3.5mm mic and headphone jacks. You'll also notice one more 1/4 thread in the middle. The backside is dedicated to dual Sony L-style battery slots and ventilation for the unit. The slots have a velvety finish contrasted with the metal finish of the main body, and overall, the whole unit feels very solid. The batteries are hot swappable, so provided you have at least one battery in the unit, you can swap without interruption. Excluding batteries, the Wave comes in at 694 grams. So let's take a quick look at the Spark 4K. The Spark 4K is designed to provide high-quality, very low latency 4K video for wireless video transmission all the way up to 4K at 30 FPS or 1080p at 60 FPS. But the other focus here is on its compact, no-fuss design. You'll notice that there are actually no external antennas here, and while the receiver requires DC or USB-C power, the transmitter is equipped with a 2600 mAh battery, meaning it can reside in a more remote setup. The Spark 4K supports a 500-foot line-of-sight connection with less than 1 millisecond of delay. In a cinema setting, this is fast enough to pull focus, but in an AV setting, this is critical for accuracy in a multi-camera setup. Video is transmitted in 10-bit 422, so if you're transmitting the signal to a production monitor, for example, you'll have an accurate view of color and exposure, which can help with the variety of color spaces available today. Plus, this means broadcast spec is maintained across the signal chain. The Spark 4K is very light, coming in at only 168 grams for the transmitter and 191 grams for the receiver. The transmitter measures about 88.89 millimeters by 66.67 millimeters, making it small enough to fit on almost any camera rig. But its tabletop design means it's also capable of being used in a standalone setting. The receiver is slightly bigger at about 108 by 80 millimeters. Both the transmitter and receiver feature OLED displays on the front that show signal status and main settings. The connections and buttons on the back sides are actually the same for both units, including HDMI in on the transmitter, HDMI out on the receiver, USB-C, a refresh connection button, and a power switch. The receiver provides the additional option of powering the unit through a DC connection. By the way, the Spark 4K does come with all the necessary USB power adapters, so you won't have to worry about finding the right one to quickly charge or power the unit. The units also arrange their mounting points differently, with the transmitter placing a 1/4-20 thread on the bottom of the unit, which does make sense for something you would possibly mount on the top of a camera. The receiver, however, places the 1/4-20 thread on the right side, allowing the unit to be mounted vertically. So that's it for the Teradek Wave and the Teradek Spark 4K. The Teradek Wave is one of those truly unique products that makes video streaming easier and more self-contained. The incredibly bright screen and tough build quality means you could use this anywhere, from a conference room to the great outdoors. But the versatile connectivity and streaming options, not to mention the intuitive Flow OS, make it a great video streaming tool overall. Having worked in streaming AV myself, I like to consolidate gear whenever possible, and I could absolutely see the Wave as a primary encoder on site thanks to its network bonding capabilities. Meanwhile, the Spark 4K brings all the essential must-have features of a wireless AV solution into a compact form factor, with video quality that's reliable for any number of professional situations. It does lack some cinema-centric features such as PSF frame rate support and SDI input, but it's otherwise a perfect option for smaller camera setups that need to transmit high-quality 4K video wirelessly. So that's it for Teradek. I'm Doug with B&H, and I'll see you next time.